No glitchy.
I half expect that we will have a glitch at some point. All right, we're on. Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday, and it's a winter wonderland around here.
It is.
So, hey, Steph.
Hi.
How's your day?
Well, it's been a interesting day.
Yeah.
It's
Same.
definitely, isn't it a full moon?
Maybe that would make a lot of sense.
Tonight, tomorrow night, sometime this week, I think, is the full moon, and we were feeling it.
That would make so much sense. Okay, yeah. It's Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. It's Cooking with Kat and Steph, once again. So we had another plan, and then snow happened, which we knew was going to happen, but my meeting also ran long.
And neither one of us made it to the grocery store, so
No.
It was what's in the fridge.
Which I suspect happens to you all at times.
Yeah. Unexpected day, things didn't turn out.
Yeah. So what do you have in your fridge? Let's see if I can do this. Okay.
You did it.
I did it. Okay.
Congratulations.
I needed that.
Success.
All right. So, as everyone joins us, we're cooking what's on hand.
Yes, we raided the freezer, the pantry, the refrigerator. Yes.
So, meatballs, broccoli, cream of mushroom soup, orzo pasta, or whatever pasta you have on hand, Parmesan cheese.
We're doing orzo because, well, I had it left over, but we've never done little tiny pasta before.
And I don't know why, because it's great.
It makes sense
Yeah.
to try the little tiny pasta.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you don't know what orzo is, but it's this big.
Little rice
It looks
shaped.
like rice. Yes.
So, and then bouillon. So if you don't have broth on hand, highly recommend you get better than bouillon.
Yes. And if you don't like the saltiness of bouillon, there's the low sodium kind. I usually get that. This one is not, but
Yep, we like to add our own salt.
yeah.
But so tell us, so we're gonna do a bake.
Yeah, so we're par cooking the pasta. Oh, I've got to go fix the par cooking the pasta in the broth or the bouillon and water.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put it all together and bake it.
Okay.
So I should start the
Oven. Yep. Okay. So for those of you that are new, I'm Kat Ledwig, dietitian. Stephanie just went around to fix the camera a little bit. She's a speech language pathologist. We help people with dysphagia management. And what that means is we talk about the swallowing piece, we talk about the causes, we talk about the symptoms, we talk about the food, how to alter the food so it's an appropriate texture, how to get enough liquids in, how to alter textures of liquids if needed. And we also talk about the nutrition piece. So I walked in the door and Steph was like, this is what we're doing, this is what I got. And I was like, yes, I love it. Because you put together a complete meal, a nutritionally balanced meal in a matter of minutes for us. So
I learned from the best.
that's not me. So what makes a nutritionally complete meal? We're going to throw the pasta in.
Yep.
Is that okay? So the broth is boiling. So Steph's going to throw the pasta in. Orzo cooks fairly quickly. It says, maybe I lied, 9 to 11 minutes. It's typical pasta. It cooks in the same amount of time. This is why I read the instructions, because sometimes I get it wrong.
But typically we overcook pasta.
Yes.
But since we're going to bake it, we might
Cook it for 10 minutes or 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it says 9 to 11. So I say let's do 11. So 5:35 p.m. So 5:46 p.m.
Okay.
We'll pull it.
Okay.
So if anyone's watching and it's 5:46 on there, someone type in the comments. If you're watching, please say hello. Please bring your questions. If you have something in your pantry that you're like, I don't know how to put all these things together, put them in the comments and let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I had meatballs already made, and they were made for Italian meatball soup. So they're tiny.
It's perfect.
So we're chopping everything small to minced and moist. We can chop these to minced and moist. We might do half and half so that half of it is...
Well, you want to do soft and bite-sized or minced and moist to start?
Either way.
Okay.
So whatever you're on, you can do whatever. You can leave all of it whole. You could leave the broccoli whole.
Yep.
And it would still, after baking, it would puree very well because we are going to have an automatic sauce in it.
Yes.
With the cream of mushroom. You can make your own cream of mushroom if you wish. I had this on hand for quick nights like this.
Yep.
And the beef broth that we're making from bouillon.
Yep. So we want the moisture. Anyone that has a swallowing disorder, first of all, we need the hydration. And I say this, I think, every season, but especially this time of year. It sounds very cliche, but this time of year, you have the heat going, it dries out the air from outside might be dry already because all the moisture is stuck in the snow, right? And so everybody's dry, everybody's got dry, like my hands are so dry right now.
Right. If you live in the South, you might not be as dry, but it's drier because as your heat runs, the furnace runs, it dries out your house.
Yep.
Hello, Fern.
Hi.
And Karen. Hello,
Wonderful.
everyone.
Wonderful to see you. So dry. We need to keep you hydrated. This is the most important thing you can do for yourself is make sure you have something to drink, sip on throughout the day, every day. I'm not talking you need to gulp down water all in one sitting. Not saying that by any means. Small, consistent intake. Hey, Megan, throughout the day.
And it doesn't have to be water. If you're one that just doesn't like water, so put the little squirty things in it, or lemon juice, or
packets
lime.
of, like, they make fancy electrolyte packets or flavoring packets or Crystal Light.
Yeah, you don't have to go with plain water because you can be hydrated with other things.
Okay.
Just preferably not caffeine.
We are okay with a little bit of caffeine, but not all day long, all day, every day, because that does not great things to your bloodstream, your urinary tract, and your hydration status. So pasta's cooking. Meatballs, I think I'm going to chop a few. We've got our broccoli here. Should I do any more broccoli or you feel like this is enough?
I would do a little bit
A little more. Okay.
That holds water in it too. So just FYI,
it does.
some of the food that you eat is also hydrating.
100%, yes. Yeah. Fruits and vegetables, full of water. We love them. Pasta, actually,
Holds water.
holds water. It's full of water.
Yes.
So we like grains for that reason because they also hold water, but they also have other good stuff in them. So pasta is enriched. So for those of you that are worried about your iron, pasta is always enriched. Grains, processed grains, always enriched with extra iron and other vitamins and minerals.
I would think that's enough. I'm going to put this in a different
Container?
so
Okay.
that we can use this to bake in.
So we need fiber in our meal. So we have fiber in our broccoli. We need protein in our meal. We have protein in our meatballs. And you can make your own meatballs or you can buy them. I think we did an episode a few weeks ago with meatballs that Stephanie had bought. And they were really tender and
Were they
delicious.
chicken meatballs?
I think they were a combination of chicken and pork or chicken and beef. And it was a weird combination.
But they were super soft.
They were super soft. And we like super soft because sometimes you don't need it, your texture altered all the way. For those of you that are upgrading, you just need it really soft so it's easier to chew and get down. So I'm just...
So if you need minced and moist, you can chop your meatballs. Because these meatballs are already cooked, we're chopping them small. And part of our casserole or bake will be minced and moist, and part of it will be soft and bite-sized.
Okay. So we do have our little cutting board that we sometimes break out to show you sizes, but you can also go on iddsi.org and look up some of that information if you're needing information on what size is what. I had a question today from I work in nursing homes throughout the week, and I had a text message from someone at the nursing home today that said, I got a diet order that said minced and moist. What is that? And I was like, our nursing homes are a little behind. They're not using IDDSI, not all of them. I know the one you are at is for the most part. And I said, it's just mechanical soft. We're stuck in the early 2000s with the national dysphagia diet. So what do we got here?
So this is, we purchased this through Simply Thick, and it has 3 of the levels of IDDSI on it. It has the pureed level and how thick it should be to be pureed. It has the minced and moist, and the size, I think it says 4 millimeters by 4 millimeters is the size that your pieces should be to be considered minced and moist. Okay. And then they would also have to have the moisture associated with it, which is what we're doing with our sauce. And then the soft and bite size is this size, which is 15 by 15 millimeters.
Okay. So this meatball is almost that size. It's pretty close. Not quite. So I'll just cut them in quarter, or yeah.
Yeah.
Soft and bite size. These are more soft and bite sized than minced and moist. Yep. So these are more minced and moist. These are going to be more soft and bite sized. So we want to really pay attention to the texture that you need, because we hear a lot too that the texture that you can tolerate is different in the morning versus the evening.
It could be.
Yeah.
Some people have that concern.
And so we want you to just know that it's okay to switch up your texture as you need. And it's okay to challenge yourself a little bit when you're feeling good if you're at the point where you can upgrade. If you can't, we don't want you challenging yourself. Certain people, that especially those with esophageal, we don't want you challenging that. Not a good idea.
No.
But for pharyngeal or oral things, sometimes it's appropriate. Not always. But we want you to start from whatever's safest. And we want you to know how to prepare that, and we want you to know what to look for. So that's part of our mission. So any of you ever come home and go, I don't know what I'm cooking? If you do, all the time. And you go through your fridge and your pantry and your freezer and figure it out, right?
We'll put a few of them in whole too. Yes.
6? Okay. How about 7?
Absolutely.
Odd numbers.
Odd numbers are better.
Okay, so we got 2 minutes.
I just tasted one and it's close.
Okay, perfect. Okay, should we toss this in a bowl, or should we just toss it in here? And what do you think?
I'll get a bigger bowl because it could get messy.
Okay. And this is me we're talking about, so it'll probably get messy.
So we're probably right. It will get messy.
Okay, should we dump it in the bowl?
Let's do these separate so that we can kind of have areas of
which side is which?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can mix like this and the cream of mushroom. There's also cream of chicken. So if you're using chicken meatballs, you can use a cream of chicken or a cream of potato, whatever it is that you want.
Cream of celery?
Yes. And then this is actually Pecorino Romano.
Pecorino?
But, you can use any kind of cheese that you have.
Well, So if you don't tolerate cow's milk very well, pecorino might be the best thing you could try because it's made of sheep's milk. And it's really delicious and salty. And I think I like pecorino better than I like Parmesan.
I know I do.
So for those of you that don't tolerate cow's milk, maybe try Pecorino Romano.
It's as funky as Parmesan,
Yeah.
if not more.
Yeah.
This is my favorite cheese.
It's got
One
beautiful
of my
flavor.
favorite cheeses.
It's got, yeah, I agree. I'm a huge fan. All right, I'm going to open our cream of mushroom.
Yep.
Is cream of celery stringy. I think it depends on the brand. If you're concerned, you can always blend it and strain it.
I wonder.
Okay. How are we going to strain our pasta?
Well, I'll do it into a bowl so that we can save the juice, the liquid.
Okay.
I don't know where my cheese grater is.
You want me to look?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want a strainer?
Yeah. So I have
We
that
got
one.
that, but
If
that'll
we're
take a little while. Okay. Somebody commandeered it for their use. Okay.
It's probably over at the barn. Who was grating cheese at the barn? I
In the
don't
winter,
know.
in the wintertime? In the summertime, I'd say that might be very plausible.
Yeah. We can use this. This will
Okay.
actually plane quite a bit.
Yeah. So we'll use the microplaner. Okay. So I'm going to pour the cream of mushroom into our broccoli. So what we want you to remember, anytime you're using a starch like pasta or rice or potato, you're gonna have to add a little bit extra liquid because the starch absorbs more moisture and will get thicker as you blend it. So when we blend this, we're probably gonna need to add extra liquid and it's gonna get extra thick. Oh, that's beautiful. So we did 3/4 cup of pasta, 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, broccoli, there's probably about a cup of chopped broccoli in there. Beautiful. Okay.
And then if we need any extra juice in there to soften it,
I think we will.
then we'll use this. That's why I did it into a bowl instead of...
Oh, look at that
We're ready
timing.
to go.
Beautiful. Okay. Yep. That was
Just right?
just right.
Good. And then we'll put...
Okay. So should I put the meat on the bottom or should I put it, maybe I'll do a layer and take these meatballs out.
I would say the meatballs on top so we know where we are.
Which ones are where? Okay. These ones I'm going to put off to the side, sort of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cover them just a little bit. Okay.
So by covering them, she's keeping them from getting crusty or crunchy.
Too brown and crispy.
Crispy is the word I was looking for. Thank you. I'm not wording today.
It's okay. I feel like that's been me the last couple of days. Words have been really hard. Okay, so we know our whole meatballs are there. So we're gonna put our soft and bite-sized sort of in the middle. Okay. And then put these ones.
Mince and moist to the left.
Okay. And I'm gonna press them down just a little bit. Okay.
Now notice we didn't salt this as we went. And the reason for that is because we had bouillon, we had the cream of mushroom, and then this cheese is going to be salty as well.
Yep. Hi, Marcia. It's nice to see you.
I won't be able to move it around, so you'll have to just...
I can redistribute.
Perfect.
So I had a thought today. You know, there are a lot of people out there that do not want to be on pureed food, right? Mm-hmm. You see it every day. I see it every day. And they do not care about the safety because they just don't like the food. And so what we see a lot is that people are forced to be on pureed diets or liquidized diets. And I think part of our mission is to help those of you that are actively trying to figure out what to do and how to do this right. We want you to have the option and the choice and the freedom to choose the best thing food-wise. Sometimes you're going to need to do pureed for safety.
But we want you to enjoy it.
Yes.
If you have to do pureed, we want you to enjoy it. And we can teach you how. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of times I prefer the pureed version of what we make. So if you do it, if you have some tools in your toolbox to know how to flavor it and how to do it along the way.
And so those people that don't have the choice and are forced to do it in some of the facilities that I see, they're very unhappy, and I have a really hard time convincing them that certain things are good. So our mission is to help you figure out how to do it, figure out how to make it taste good, and then figure out how to get all those other options that you think are not an option back into your routine.
Yeah, you should be able to have it. We can figure out what is it that you miss and you love. Let us help you figure out how to have it.
Yeah. Because flavor is something that we can still get into the food regardless of the texture. And flavor is so important.
Yeah. It's about how it's layered.
And if it's about how it looks, let's talk about how we can make it prettier.
We really just left that mini meatballs,
We did.
Andrew.
Yeah.
I mean, Kat.
Let's use them next time. I hope my mom is watching and she laughs because I have a brother named Andrew and you have a son named Andrew. And so it's even more ironic.
Okay, I'm going to get this stuff out of the way.
Okay.
What kind of questions do we have? I don't see any questions.
No.
We would love if you are watching, please just in the comments put down where you're watching us from because we would love to know. And if you have any questions or have things in your fridge that you want to know, how would you make this stuff?
Absolutely.
Give you some ideas.
What can you put with what?
Yeah.
Do we need that measuring cup still for the broth, or are we going to just use a ladle or something like that? Hey, that works.
It's going to be the
Perfect.
ladle.
The ladle as the measuring cup. I like it. Okay. So, dysphagia affects a lot of people. I think in one of the webinars that we did recently, one of the stats in 2021 was that it's some crazy wide-ranging number from something like 2% to 20% of people have dysphagia. So we don't actually know. And that was of the 8+ billion people in the world in 2021. Somewhere between 2% and 20% of people have dysphagia. And a lot of that is that they're not diagnosed.
Not diagnosed. So you may have dysphagia and you were sent home being told that you don't have dysphagia.
And there's nothing wrong with you.
We believe you.
Yes. I have someone that I work with keeps clearing her throat all the time. I think she's got some pretty severe food sensitivities that cause her some reflux. And she sometimes has food that gets stuck. And I told her, I was like, you've got the start of this thing called dysphagia, my friend. You need to start working on that. And she's just like,
It could get worse over time.
and I was like, it's probably for her, it's probably food related. It's something she's eating that her body doesn't like. And so we started talking about moving some of those things out of her diet. And she's very opposed to it right now. And that's okay. We just need the idea there so she can start to think about it.
And I know the things that cause me a little inflammation, things that my body doesn't, I don't usually have much reflux, but I do a couple of times a year. But I can always tell when I eat something that I shouldn't have because when I take my vitamins the next morning, I feel like they're stuck.
Weird.
Not bad, but I can feel that, what I call an imprint. I can feel that my esophagus is inflamed and it's feeling every vitamin going down.
I love this question.
Is there a softer meat than beef, as I have to puree and I'm having problems with beef? Yes.
Beef is the hardest to puree.
It is. I would say that chicken meatballs.
So ground chicken.
Or turkey, but chicken is going to be softer.
I like turkey also. Pork, if you do the right cut of pork. Ham is a no.
That is definitely a no. But you could even do half beef, half pork meatball. We've done that before, and that is smoother because the fat from the pork helps the beef to smooth out.
Yep. We've also experimented between like dark meat and white meat, and dark meat tends to blend smoother because there's extra fat in it. So beef is the toughest. It has the most texture. I think it has the most protein per ounce. So there's just more compacted into that muscle of beef. So it's going to be hardest to break down. We find that if you pressure cook it or if you slow cook it for long periods, so you cook it low and slow, it will get softer and more tender, fall apart, but you still need to add fat when you blend, and you still need to add some kind of starch, like we have the pasta, because the fat and the starch together with the beef helps smooth out all of that texture.
There's a lot of gaslighting and discrimination toward young people with dysphagia for sure.
Yep.
This wasn't my case, but I've read many stories.
Yeah.
It's true, Karen. There are a lot of young people that are being sent home after all of their workups and being told that there's really nothing wrong and that it's a shame.
It is.
Because people don't know what to do with that type of dysphagia doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And that's very frustrating to me. Excuse me.
Yep. So Marcia says, ground beef is hard for me, but meatballs with mixed meats pureed. Okay, for me, roast beef is great to puree. And that's because roast beef is cooked.
Long. Yes.
Long.
Good, though.
Yeah, love this, Marcia. Love this. Okay. Yeah, we hear a lot of stories, and we hear even some of the older people that we see are still getting, we heard a story a couple weeks ago. Someone said that they had a swallow study and they were having trouble with water or weren't having trouble with water. And this was years ago. And they said, well, there's not enough wrong with you for us to help, basically.
Right. I could only help you if you were having trouble with water.
And the look on Stephanie's face, she's just like, of course we can help that person. Why would you tell them we can't?
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Yes. So what we want you to also hear is that there is someone out there that can help you, even if it's not the person that's standing in front of you telling you, oh, there's not enough wrong with you to help you right now where you're at. There is someone else out there that can help, but you need to keep looking.
Yes. Advocate for yourself. Ask more questions.
Because prevention is the best medicine.
Yep.
And if you know there's something not right, we want to address it before it gets worse.
And it may not be at the muscular level that it needs to be addressed. It may need to be addressed at the dietary level before the muscular level gets to the point where you need help.
Or the hydration level.
Right.
I mean, I know that's dietary also, but a lot of times we want to do hydration first, and then we got to change up the diet and get in more protein.
What temperature to cook this meal and for how long? Well, this is, we're figuring that out ourselves. So it's at 350.
Yep. And we are going to cook it until it's bubbling around the edges.
Yep.
So if you have a thermometer.
Back
here. Okay. Fingers don't work. So if you have a thermometer, it doesn't want to stay up.
That's the old one. There's a new one.
That's okay. Whatever kind of thermometer you have, it can be a digital one, it can be an analog one, whatever kind. We want to get the internal temperature of this because everything's already cooked.
It shouldn't take too long.
Above 140 degrees. Now, if it were raw and it was not cooked, we would need to cook it to 165 degrees. But because it's been cooked already and we're basically just reheating those meatballs, reheating that broccoli, we want it above 140 degrees.
Mm-hmm. It shouldn't take too long because we did have frozen broccoli.
The broccoli was frozen, the meatballs were frozen. They were on their way to thawing. Cold. But because those ones, we chopped them, those are going to heat
very quickly.
More quickly. Yes. The broth that we put in there was hot.
Very hot.
The soup was room temperature, so if we were really being preemptive, we could have warmed this up. Mm-hmm. But this will probably take, if I had to guess, it would probably take another 20 minutes. But we'll see. That was a great question.
That is a great question. I can always throw it in the microwave so that we can get it to temperature quicker.
Yeah. So cooking your food to the appropriate temperature. So we don't touch on food safety very often, but as a former restaurateur, both of us, Steph and I, and Steph's husband works in food safety, it's something that's very, very important to us and something that we want to convey to all of you, and it's the boring part. But it's also very important because we don't want you to end up with a GI bug or something else going on top of everything else you're dealing with. So keeping your food out of the danger zone, cooking it to the appropriate temperature, reheating to the appropriate temperature, cooling after cooking to the appropriate temperature in the right amount of time. Maybe I'll put together a little sheet and we'll put it on our website for people to just
great idea.
Download if they're interested in food safety.
Yeah.
Because we want to keep you happy and healthy and safe. Food safety is really important. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend thermometer for all households, because if you're not sure and you're not 100% comfortable in the kitchen, we want you to have the right tools to get things to the right temperature. Mm-hmm. I've been cooking for a very long time. I still use a thermometer to make sure things are the right temp. Mm-hmm. Because I want to keep everybody safe. Okay,
I threw it in the microwave so that we can get to the pureeing part.
We like pureeing.
Yes.
I told someone at my new building that I'm at that you and I cook and puree and eat pureed food every Wednesday, and they looked at me like I was crazy, and I loved it. Katie Lynn thinks it sounds delicious. Yes.
It is going to be delicious. I have no doubt.
And we didn't have to add a whole lot of other flavor to this.
No.
Because it's going to have a ton of flavor already.
We could have added garlic. Mm-hmm. We could have added hot pepper flakes or cayenne if you want it spicy.
We could have added more or different veggies.
Yep.
We could have added herbs. If we could have added the herbs into the water when we were boiling the pasta to soften them.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of different things that we could have added to this, but I like also simple. And on a day like today, when the snow's coming down really good, and you just need something warm and hearty.
Yeah, and we were rushing because we were late getting home, and
so
we didn't think about all the details. We could have done more, but so, I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah. So when your plan goes out the window, which you all know that have been watching us for a while, that our plan sometimes goes out the window and what we plan doesn't always work. We were planning on doing soup. We didn't make it to the store.
No.
So it's okay for your plan to fall apart. It's not okay to not eat because your plan falls apart. So we want to help you come up with plan B.
We could have even made this into a soup if I had more
Yeah.
of this, but this is almost empty. So we took the half, mostly empty of everything and just made,
This would have made a delicious soup.
yeah.
I like it. Okay. It smells
It
amazing.
does. Let me temp it. On.
So, for those of you that are new to meal planning, here's how Dietitian Kat meal plans. We first pick a protein. What's your protein going to be? Is it beef? Is it pork? Is it chicken? Is it turkey? Is it fish?
It's at 160. It's plenty hot.
Oh, yeah. Here. Once you have your protein picked, are those bees on your sweater so cute?
Yes, it is. Thank you for noticing.
That was Katie Lynn. I might have missed it, but it's everything cooked together. So we cooked the pasta, the broccoli was frozen, the meatballs were frozen. We just chopped them all up, threw in the cream of mushroom soup with the broccoli and the pasta and a little bit of the broth to thin it out. Threw it in, put the meat on top. Put pecorino romano on top of that. Okay?
Yes.
So, minced and moist, we have already ready to go.
So let's get
We just need to dish it out, right? And then soft and bite-sized in the middle, already ready to go.
Can you see these? All right. So dish out the...
Okay. So,
Oh, the cheese. Now, the cheese got a little hard on there. Mm-hmm. If we had been thinking about it, we'd have mixed it in with the soup.
mm-hmm. So true. So
So that it would melt to be a cheesy sauce.
But if I put some of the stuff that was on the bottom over the cheese,
It will soften it.
it'll soften back up. Do you have to use frozen versus fresh vegetables?
No.
Either one is fine. Yeah.
Frozen is what I had.
You could even
and
use
so-
canned.
Absolutely.
We do not discriminate. We like veggies, whatever you got. Okay? So level 5 minced and moist. And if you need it more minced and moist, really all you got to do is press it through a fork. Mm-hmm. If it goes through the tines of the fork, you know that it's minced and moist. Mm-hmm. And it should have cooked long enough that everything is soft enough that it goes through the tines of that fork.
Yes. So that's a way to manually create minced and moist. You can make it regular and just mash it with your fork before as you take a bite.
We don't need to even to get our handy dandy little mincer dirty because we got a fork that can do it for us.
You can. That is true.
Okay?
And so soft and bite size.
Yep.
Our pieces are
Beautiful. And then we've got just our regular, or what we would call level 7, that's got those whole meatballs in there. Okay? Mm-hmm. So level 7 is regular or easy to chew. So we want it to be on the softer side, but they can be whole pieces. Okay. Puree time. So anytime you're pureeing with hot food, we like the blend jet, but for hot stuff, you'd never want to put your lid on all the way because then it creates a vacuum in there and it can create pressure, and then you take the lid off and it explodes. So we like the Ninja Blast because it comes with Yes.
It's not really a vent, it's a drinking spout.
So what we can call it whatever we want.
I call it a vent.
So if you have a blend jet and you don't have a Ninja Blast, that's okay. What do? We put our food in, we take a towel, you put a towel over the top, you can put the lid over the top, you just don't need to seal it, and then you push play. Is it jammed up from last week?
Maybe. We may have to open that.
Okay.
It also may not be charged enough.
Oh, okay. We'll just swap out our tools. Troubleshooting, right?
Lots of failure today. I don't feel...
Marcia says Ninja Blast is my favorite to use now. We don't disagree.
We agree with you. So we'll have to cover that with...
Okay, so in action, here we go. And I'm going to put this on so if it does come through the top, it doesn't splash me. It shouldn't burn, but...
There it goes.
And because it's going to get thick, we need to move it around a little bit. Oh, it locked up. That's okay. We just need a little bit more liquid, okay? So...
I'm going to have to push it down in here.
Yep. So we don't want the liquid at the top, so we'll just take our spoon and push it all the way to the bottom. Okay. And blend again.
There, that was perfect.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
And so with meat and with some of these other things, we may need to blend it 3 or 4 times, and that's okay.
Yeah, especially the broccoli, because it was, you could, if you're using fresh broccoli, you can parboil it. Because we put it in frozen, it probably didn't cook as soft with the amount of time that we had. But parboiling it, getting it softer before you mix it up into... There you go.
And
it's blending very well.
Yeah. I think it's going to be pretty much done after this. It's still moving pretty good up there.
Ooh, it smells good. I smell the cheese.
Okay. Shall we try it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So when it comes to puree, our little Simply Thick IDDSI mat tells us what puree is. So this also is going to depend on what the appropriate texture for you is. So if it... Got too many things going on, sorry. So this is somewhere between a liquidized, so a level 3 and a level 4. We could add a little more pasta and blend it again and get it a little bit thicker if we needed to. If you dip your fork in it and goes through the tines of your fork, it's closer to a level 3 than a level 4. If it does not go through the tines of your fork and sits up there on your fork, it's a straight up puree. You may need between 3 and 4. You may not need a complete level 4 thick puree. You may need it a little smoother. Not smoother. That's not the right word.
This is actually really good.
All those flavors in there are really nice.
So it's very smooth. So even though it's beef meatballs, because we had the fat, the liquid, the starch, in a number of, I mean, we had the broccoli that helped it to be smooth as well. And it's really tasty. And we didn't have to add any extra
anything.
Salt, pepper, anything. No. We just it was a rushed meal.
Yep.
And it is very good. This could be a family favorite. I could see this being a family favorite.
I think so too. And you could also swap out the type of meat. You could do chicken. You could do ground chicken, ground beef, ground turkey, ground regular turkey.
Yeah, it wouldn't even have to be meatballs.
Shredded
You could
turkey, shredded beef.
You could just cook, yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those super versatile, let's change it up meals. Just based on what you have in
your fridge.
Yeah. How would you tame the sheet on different levels? New to this since getting off event last week. Yeah. So Fern, the quickest place you can go is iddsi.org. Could someone drop that in the comments? iddsi.org. Stephanie's going to do it. Okay. Because they have the best resources. They have things you can download, little handouts. It explains everything. We haven't necessarily even made our own because theirs are so good.
They are the source.
Yeah, why recreate?
They are the source, and that's,
Yep.
we try to help teach. Now this, we purchased through Simply Thick. Put it closer so you can see. Simply Thick. It's a liquid thickener. You may not need that, but
we are so glad you are here. We are happy to answer any questions you have. Please reach out to us if you need resources. We have such a wonderful community here that we've built over the last 2.5 years, and we want to help anybody that needs it. And we want to share the knowledge that we have. We also have a membership that has such a wonderful little supportive community. Yeah. So whatever you need, you let us know. We'll try to help however we can.
yes. It turned out good.
And the meat, even though it was on top, is still soft. I like it. It's a winner. Okay.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Any last questions?
Yes, ask away. All right. Well, I guess we're done. We got to get you home before the snow gets too deep.
Well, and before it gets too dark.
And before it gets too dark. So I'm going to get her home. You guys have a good night.
We're here if you need us.
Ask away.
Yes. We are so grateful for all of you, and we're just blessed to be here and to be able to serve you all. So thank you.
Have a great week.
See you next week, everybody.